Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Mark Smith. I'm Managing Director of People2People here in Australia and Frog Recruitment in New Zealand. It's Friday afternoon, 12:30, which means we are live here on Facebook, YouTube, and now LinkedIn with our regular employment market update. So thanks for joining us again. It's very, very close to Christmas, and this will be our last market update before the Christmas break, and we'll be returning in late January. So it's also, though, today, and there's always got to be something a bit odd at the beginning when we're doing this. It's National Mountain Day. Who would have thought? Didn't even know it existed, but apparently it is National Mountain Day. There it is. Well, it's not. It's a mountain. I thought I'd include our friends across the ditch, and particularly our colleagues at Frog Recruitment in New Zealand. This is Mount Cook, and I can't pronounce the Maori name for Mount Cook, but that I thought I'd show that picture today just for the reference to our friends across the ditch and the fact that it is National Mountain Day. But that's not what we're here for. We're actually here to go through. We'll give you a bit of a market update. So we'll go through our regular numbers section. Today, we'll be talking about the Internet Vacancy Index that came out for November. So from the Australian Bureau of Statistics, we'll share that information with you, and also some numbers from Indeed. We'll also get our job hunting tip from Anthony DeMarco. This job hunting tip was courtesy of a suggestion that we had from our webinar that yesterday. So Anthony will be giving us some of those. And finally, we'll have a chat with Jaden Cook, who the man behind the scenes with these Facebook Live, because he was actively involved with the Christmas Smith family collection and went on site, and we'll learn more about that later today as well. So if you've got any questions, then please pop them into the comments. We can see them live. So please make sure you participate today, and we'll hopefully get to them as soon as we can. But let's get started. So with our regular numbers section. Okay, all right. So the Internet Vacancy Index. So the Internet Vacancy Index is a compilation of data sources, including the large job boards like Indeed and Seek, and the ABS actually compiles this data and gives us trend information on what's happening in the jobs market, and it's good news. So here's the overall or headline results. So Jaden, if you wanted to put those up there. So you can see that the seasonally adjusted and trend lines are up 5.7% on a monthly change and 7.8% respectively, and even year on year the numbers are up. So it's good news. I've got to say there has been a discernible change in mood and business confidence that we've experienced in the last 3.5, 4 weeks of People2People, and it's now starting to translate through into the numbers and the number of vacancies that are listed with us. So I do have a good feeling, sort of matched the time that the talk around vaccines hit the market. Jaden, if we could go to the next one, which demonstrates that change in mood, I suppose. So you can see this goes back all the way to 2006-07, the last GFC, and what's happened with the Internet Vacancy Index. So you can see the fact that there was a major decline with COVID. We all expect that. We experienced it, but you can see how it's sharply risen since the last few months: June, July, August, September, October, and November. You can see that it's been a steady increase in the number of vacancies that are listed on a state-by-state basis, and that's the next slide for us there. So you can see lots of green arrows across the country there in terms of the change. I'll point out Victoria, because of the lockdown, a month-on-month increase of 24.2%. I haven't seen that for a very long time. And look at these numbers year on year. 24, 25, 33 for Tasmania. So it's a good news story, except for the ACT, which was a slight decline year on year. But the ACT has been the standout performer in terms of job opportunities during 2020, during COVID. So not totally a surprise there. So another source here, rather than the ABS, is my friend over at Indeed, Callum Pickering, and I always do a shout out to him because he's got a great Twitter feed, and this is where I got this from. This is the Indeed 7-day rolling average. For those who are interested in Callum and what he has to say, we did a webinar and a leadership series a couple of weeks ago. If you visit our website, you can hit the events and you can see that webinar, and you can actually view it retrospectively. So jump onto that to see his view on the economic situation. This tells the story of Victoria and the rest of Australia in terms of the 7-day rolling average. And you can see that Victoria is finally back. You can see that the second lockdown, and Australia has recovered to February. February 1 is the 100 in this the baseline for these graphs. And so we have recovered, and now with slight decline as we head into Christmas, which there's no real surprises there. So good news from the Internet Vacancy Index, which is great to end the year on, and hopefully, even though we'll quieten down as we go into Christmas, it's a good news story or augurs well for 2021. Rightio. So now we'll go and have a chat to Anthony DeMarco. So while I take a seat, though, there is an opportunity that Julie from our Western Sydney team is working on, and we've got a video of that.
Hi everyone, I'm Julie Lazinski from P2P Parramatta. Today I wanted to share with you an exciting opportunity that I have been exclusively engaged to recruit. I'm looking for an experienced field sales manager for this dynamic and well-known organisation in the FMCG space. This role will see the successful person spending the majority of their week out in the field with their staff, coaching and mentoring from the front. This is a high-performing team who manages a very large territory which is very successful across the Greater Western Sydney area. This awesome role is paying up to $95,000 plus super, plus car, plus incentives and more. I'm currently interviewing, so please don't delay in contacting me on the details below for a confidential conversation. Thank you. Thanks for watching.
Yeah, great opportunity from Julie. G'day, Anthony.
Hey, Mark. How's it going?
Oh, not too bad. 2 days in a row, mate.
I know, yeah. Well, give
like
people what they want.
So you're all over the media. From our webinar yesterday, and then here we are live. The reason why that you are here today, though, is that you were on the webinar yesterday, giving us an update of the legal market from our P2P post, which is great. So, and I would encourage people to again go to our website, have a look at events, and you'll be able to have a look at that webinar there. But there was a whole bunch of comments during the webinar asking for job hunting tips, and specifically around CV preparation. So we thought we'd cover that off today. So what do you got for us?
Well, I think it's a really good time at the moment, coming into the new year, new year, new job. And a lot of people will start to look at their CVs and, really wonder, how can I stand out amongst others? So, look, I've got a few tips. So I guess the first thing that I always tell candidates is to always be truthful on your CV. That's the number one tip that I do give, but also make sure everything on that CV is, factual, to the point. There's not too much fluff, I guess, in the CV. So I always recommend to have it nice and neatly laid out, each job that you've worked in, the specific job title, the company you've worked at, as well as the dates, including the months. Specifically for the legal side of things, where I specialize in, we always say, put in areas of law and who you've supported as well. So things like that. In terms of the way that your CV is laid out, I always recommend dot points. So, a list of specific duties and tasks that you undertook on a day-to-day basis. It's much easier for the hiring manager to read opposed to paragraphs. So keeping it to, maybe 12 to 20 dot points, and, being specific with the tasks that you were undertaking on a day-to-day basis.
That is good advice too, because also these days, all the CVs are parsed into systems.
Exactly.
So if you have it as dot points, it's much easier for the parsing engines to actually pull out the keywords and actually summarize your experience in a more concise way as well. It's not about being fancy; it's about being simple and easy to understand.
Absolutely. And look, always include systems knowledge as well, because if a hiring manager or a company is looking for a specific system, those systems will come up in the keyword searches as well. So I'd always recommend to add the systems that you've used, and that will really sort of add to your experience.
And even if it's only a small amount of experience that you've had with the system, because what that will do is it'll prompt the recruiter to ask you the question about the experience that you've got, because it may be enough. You never know. So don't skimp on that as well.
Absolutely. I agree with you there, Mark. And then each job I always advise putting some achievements. So no matter how sort of small you think the achievement was, it can demonstrate, how you've performed or acted in a certain situation whilst being with that company. So at the end of each position, if there is any specific achievements or you've won any awards, I'd always recommend to list those just below the duties for each position as well. So education, obviously really important as well. So you're adding in all of your relevant education. I'd always recommend as well to any application you send, if you have academic transcripts, that's always going to help your application. And then obviously listing professional references on the bottom of your CV as well. So look, references are things that will definitely help you secure work, especially if you've got a strong reference to go with your CV. But look, I guess the biggest things is keeping it simple, making sure it's factual and all of the information is there. You've got the keywords as well. Yeah,
great. One of the questions I think yesterday was, how do I make my CV stand out from the rest? Do you have any advice there?
Look, I think to have it in terms of visually, having everything neatly laid out, correct formatting, etc. But also, I think the biggest thing, like you mentioned, is the keywords. With automation, there is definitely computers that are picking up on different keywords, and those resumes will then be flagged higher than others. So I think it's adding in the keywords. If you're whatever industry you're working in, adding in specific sort of buzzwords that the recruiter or the hiring manager can pick up.
Yeah, and that's good advice, because and so on a really just practical level. So if you're applying for jobs and you think these are the jobs I want, there are keywords that always appear in the job advertisement, and these automations, they always match the keywords across each other. So make sure your CV contains those keywords. It's standing out is not necessarily, oh, your phone's ringing. That'd be a temp job, wouldn't it?
Yes, it would be.
Let's hope so. Yeah, so it's all about that it's standing out is being able to be found, and so that so you can actually then have somebody ask you some questions. Absolutely. So that's the first. And then I think your comment on achievements too. So once somebody actually finds you, they want to know how you've added values, not just about what you've done, but rather how have you made a difference. And that's very, very important from a 21st century point of view as well. It's not just about what skills, we're 80 words per minute or something like that. It's more than that, and what you can bring to an organization. Fantastic. Absolutely. All right, great. Is there anything else then before I let you go?
No, I think if anyone does need any specific tips on their CV, more than welcome to reach out. So on 82709715 or via email.
Yeah, perfect. We'll make sure that we get your contact details up in the comments there as well. So thanks very much for that, Anthony.
No worries. Cheers, Mark.
Fabulous. Fantastic. Thanks. Rightio, let's now move on and have a quick chat to Jaden, who is behind the scenes on Facebook Live every Friday. But we thought we'd get him on today because Jaden, you've been actively working with the Smith family during the festive season. Do you want to tell us more about that?
Yeah, so it was about a week or so ago now that we got to have the opportunity to go out to the Homebush kind of depot set up for the Children's in Need Christmas gift deliveries. So myself and one of my other colleagues, Hannah, actually got to go together to the sorting warehouse and act as Christmas elves for the day. So the title was...
You've got a little bit of a time-lapse video or something of that, don't you?
I do, actually. Yeah. So we essentially were sorting through Christmas presents, putting them into different age brackets, sorting out the main presents from the extra ones. But I'll quickly just play the video now so you get a bit of an idea of what we were doing there.
It's quiet too, so there won't be any... There we go.
So there are also a bunch of books that we were able to kind of go through. Each child receives a main Christmas present, as well as kind of a supplementary gift to go alongside. And then everyone gets a book as well that they can kind of read along to and have, or for the younger kids, maybe their parents might read along to them at bedtime. But the interesting thing was they actually said through across Australia, they've got about 29,000 kids that they actually help and get these presents out to. So for some of the families, it is the only Christmas present that they'll have come Christmas morning. So it was quite special to be able to help out and be a part of that. So, because I mean, it is a bit of a child's right to have a Christmas present on Christmas morning to open up.
Absolutely, 100%. What was the biggest surprise, do you reckon, from going out there?
I think it was the quality of the presents. Everything that people had donated, it was really good quality. There wasn't like cheap things that people were trying to get rid of. It really was kind of great to see that people were caring about what they wanted to donate to give on to these kids as well, and definitely things that they'd open up and be very happy to get Christmas morning.
I think we also had a hamper in the office. Is that right?
Yeah, so we also did a bit of a drive through the office. So we were doing the food collections to be delivered for hampers for families to help out as well, and also collecting some extra toys to go along to send through to the fund there.
I think I saw it. Was it? I think Anthony, who was on a few minutes ago, he delivered those hampers the other day. I think I saw it on LinkedIn. Is that right?
Yeah. So went down and dropped those off at the offices, and some very grateful ladies were there to greet us, saying there was a massive help as well. And the Christmas period's always a very busy time for them. So, they've actually said, look, if anyone can spare some non-perishable food or toys that they still have, not used toys, they wouldn't be looking for those kind of secondhand donations. But if you are out at the shops or go to, say, Kmart or anything like that, and there are some good quality toys that you do see and you'd like to kind of get those together and donate them, you can definitely get them together, even with a few friends, and drop them down to the Smith family, or in saying that, any other kind of charity organization as well.
Yeah. So how let's talk specifically about the Smith family. How would somebody, if they wanted to donate, what would they do?
So what you can do, I'll have a link that I'll post in the comments in a section through to their website. So you can reach out. They've got a few contact points there. They've got an office based in the Sydney CBD as well that you can physically deliver your gifts to, or you can reach out to them and contact them and arrange a kind of time, maybe even find a store that's local to you that's a bit easier to get to than the city, and just arrange. Even monetary donations always help them as well. But if you were wanting to have a bit of a different way to help out, non-perishable food and those toys are another great option.
Fabulous. Fantastic. Rightio. Well, thank you very much, Jaden. Thank you for that. Thanks for coming back in front of that. That's twice now you've come in front. Actually, you've more than once, haven't you? I think more than twice, actually.
I've been keeping a bit of a tally. I think we're on 3.5 now.
There we go. Excellent. Rightio. Thanks, Jaden. Thanks for joining us this afternoon. Now, I can see in the private chat that Anthony has also needs to. There's a temp job that's literally, we were joking about it a few minutes ago, has literally just come through. So, Jaden, do you want to bring Anthony back online so we can have a quick chat about that? It's a job starting on Monday, by the looks of it. So, yeah, you're muted there, Anthony. Just want to unmute yourself and tell us about it.
Yeah, perfect. I was saying you must have a crystal ball, Mark, because you knew that was coming through. But no, it's a job for my colleagues Alia and Brooke. So it's an immediate temporary need for a part-time receptionist / administrator. So this position's working 4 days per week, but it's also assisting this business with an office move. So ASAP start. If they can get someone for Monday, they can have someone start on Monday. So as mentioned, they're based in the CBD and they're a financial services company. So the role is paying up to $30 an hour plus super, immediate start. So if you do have experience in that area, I think Jaden's got to put a link to the job in the description so you can reach out to either Brooke or Alia.
Yeah, okay, fantastic. All right, last minute jobs coming through. That is really just a sign of the market right now. It's very cool that there's definite mood change, isn't it? It's
absolutely.
Things are looking up then as we go into Christmas. Right, so thanks very much, Anthony. So let's now, that brings us to the end of today's broadcast. And look, we're talking about careers and how you can grow your career. And one of the ways that you can definitely limit your options is to wear reindeer ears live on Facebook to wish everybody thank everybody that was look, it even makes a sound. Can you hear that? So I wanted to thank everybody who's been watching the Facebook Live broadcasts during the year, and I wanted to wish everybody a very merry and safe Christmas. enjoy the break. You definitely deserve it. It's been a really challenging 2020, but from all signs, it looks like it's going to be a good 21, or that we're on the way up. Things are coming back, and particularly from the jobs and employment market, it may not be boom times, but there's definitely a better feeling out there. This is the last of our broadcasts for 2020. We'll be back in late January 21. Enjoy the Christmas break, and thanks again for watching.